sales guide, and I'm going to say, hey, if anybody wants this, the first person to leave me their mailing address, I'll just drop it in the mail today.
There you go.
Just to be funny.
There you go. Yeah, we'll give free stuff away.
I've got the next.
Yeah, good. So, hey, Chris, so I'm excited to be talking with you. It's my pal, Chris Johnson. For those of you here on my channel, right, you know me, but now you get to meet my friend Chris. And Chris and I are going to be having this is the first of many conversations we expect that we will have out of all of them. This is going to be kind of interesting, right? Audience, network, all this stuff. So, Chris, what's up, man? How are you?
I've never been better. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, talk to us, right? Yeah, cool. So, yeah, so stay tuned for what that means. Yeah, the royal we. Yeah, is that a mouse in your pocket, or
that
is?
That is. I usually wear a hat, and there's a little rat that pulls my my hair. To
is it like a trefoil?
Like ratatouille? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Awesome, man. So hey, so we want to talk today about audience network and all that stuff, which is really interesting, and we've seen some interesting stuff here out there. So first, how do you define audience, Chris?
Wow, this is an audience is sort of an aggregate of everybody that you know that that you can address. Okay, so this can be somebody that's on LinkedIn. This can be somebody that's on your website. This can be somebody that you can get to with your ads. This can be somebody that you've got in your Rolodex. This can be somebody that's on your Twitter. You know, both social media, online, offline channels. You know, if your Facebook, whatever your channels are, your email list. You're addressable group of people that have a connection with you. It can be bilateral or it can be unilateral, but anybody that you can go outside and in front of an Arby's and start yelling that you've got an audience there. That's your audience. That's everybody that you can whose attention you can grab for a few minutes for a while.
Okay, cool. So that's nothing like a network though. So what's a network?
Boy, a network is a little bit more bilateral. So a network is going to be people that you and you have a reciprocal relationship with at some level. It doesn't have to be exactly even. So you could be a vendor-client relationship, but they know you, you know them. They'll have varying degrees of connection with you, varying degrees of affinity for you, and they'll know who you are, and you'll know who they are, and you'll be able to use the network to kind of navigate through that. You'll be able to have some sort of professional context generally for a professional network to see them.
Yeah, that makes sense. The key there is the bilateral, right? You're not just screaming in front of an Arby's naked to get somebody's attention. They actually know who you are, and they're like, oh, I've seen them all on your butt before. That's Chris. I understand.
Right.
Or business wise, right? I've done business with that person. I know enough about them that I can actually say, oh yeah, I'll take a call with them. I'll have a meeting with them. Yes, I'll actually respond to their email when they send it, right? That's how I would define a network, right? Somebody will respond to your invitation if you send it, not like an invitation, like on LinkedIn, but I mean an invitation that says, hey, I'm gonna send you an email, Chris, let's get together. And I have to tell you, you're really good at that. You actually, surprising to me that someone is as persistent as you are. We've been connected now. I was looking in my email, 14 years, which is pretty bananas. And we've only recently actually met in person when you came to Tampa. But it's so interesting to me because we have, until recently, I don't know if there was ever really a purpose or reason behind our streams crossing, right? We were almost like independent Ghostbusters instead of the real Ghostbusters, right? We didn't have slime burners. So what is the point and purpose? Why does that network matter? And how do we, what are some suggestions maybe? Or let's talk about how we move from audience to network, and do people move in and out from there?
Yeah, so people move in and out, and let's talk about that. Your dormant ties in your network are the most important parts of your network. So like your if you have a network with a guy like Phil, who we've interacted with first years ago when you opted into my list, and I think I was calling everybody on the phone that opted into my Aweber account back in 2007 or 6 or whenever it was, and that we've had different degrees of connection and different degrees of service to one another over the years, right? And so we've both done our own things, started businesses, changed careers, all that stuff, and we've stayed in touch. There's no, and I've always tried to do, to promote you and to do good things for you, but there's never been a reason for us to connect until fairly recently, where the opportunity came together for us to engage in some more meaningful work, right? So like, and there's 1,000 people like that in our both of our mutual networks. We're not using them, but they're stored there, and we're connected with them, so that at some point in the future we can work together and or refer business together or whatever. But it's dormant. So like, they're there for us when we need each other, and I'm there for many people. There's lots of people that I've connected with years ago that I have vague fond feelings for, that I'd welcome an opportunity to work with, right? And I'd be biased towards working with them again on something cool that happened.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's an important point there. A bias and a fondness for them towards working together, I think, is really important. I mean, a lot of people that I can tell you over the years, a lot of people have said, "Wow, I really like you, but I have no idea what you do or how I can help you." That's been okay. But as we go here, right, the hope is to become more useful, more utilitarian, if you will. Hey, here's a way to plug that in, instead of, oh yeah, let's just be friends. Although friends are great. Let's be clear, right? Friends are, I would say, from a business perspective, often friends are not, I would say they're neither network nor audience, but both.
That's right.
Right? Friends can be both, right? Friends can be people that certainly cheer you on, right? They applaud. They're going to stand there and buy your tickets to your show. They might not show up, but they might buy tickets, and they might be willing to do business or connect business to you. So I think that's really interesting, right? That's a really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're supporters. They might be, a network could even include your competitors, right? So they might be slammed one month, and they say, well, call Phil. Phil, I can't help with what you need right now, but Phil can. Give Phil a call. So there's plenty of business to go around when there's good people doing the work, and that could be somebody in your network at that time. So that your network is kind of broad in who it is. As long as you're friendly, kind, and honest with the world, you can be ruthless competitors, but still be friendly, kind, and honest, right? You don't have to, I want to win. I want to beat whoever I'm competing against, but I'm not going to be unfriendly. I'm not going to be unkind, and I'm not going to be dishonest about my intentions. And that'll create respect. That'll go a long way, and that'll be something that'll create mutual opportunities long term. The other thing is that you as far as a network goes, you have to be of service to your network. Okay, so you're not here. We're here to more or less, what we're here to do is to perform tasks and functions to our network on a regular basis. We give first to our network, and we don't treat our network. We nurture our network. We're not super transactional with any member of our network. Okay, so like, if I said, "Hey Phil, you remember all those times when I used to promote your blog posts on Twitter back in the 2008s? Well, now you owe me. And now it's time for you to repay the favor and support my post on LinkedIn." I would be a jerk. Okay. If I reminded you of that, and if I was super transactional, I would be a jerk. I'd be an asshole. Sorry to, drop into the normal French, but that wouldn't be the way that we wanted to do business. But if you did this regularly, and I said, "Hey Phil, I was wondering if you could promote my post on LinkedIn," you'd say, "Sure, no problem," and you'd have the opportunity to thank me. You can't be you can't be transactional. You have to, you can ask things of your network to the degree that you've given to your network, I guess, and you have to think of it like that. The other part of your network that you want to think about is. The way that I think about it is I have my network divided in broad strokes into 3 groups. Okay. I have my 30X group, where I talk to these people 30 times every year. Okay. These are the closest people. These are like my inner circle. And I try to talk to them every 2 weeks at the very late, at the very longest. And they're marked in my CRM, and I call them on a regular basis. And these are the people, I know what their projects are working on. I know them personally. I have a vested interest in their life. I usually know their kid's name. There's about 15 people in this sort of category. They are all business owners. They can help me, and I can help them. And I know what's going on. This would be the same sort of thing as like a an AM Spirit or a BNI group or a tips club in whatever region of the country that you're in. That's a very small, close-knit group. 2 pizzas or less would feed this group. That's the Jeff Bezos kind of rule. And then the bigger group is sort of like, that'd be your wedding party. Okay. And then the bigger group would be like your wedding guests, 50 or 60 people per side, 50 or 60 people that you invite and know what they're doing, what they're up to. You might not be aware of the most recent job change, that you might not be aware of everything, but you have familiarity with the narrative, what's going on. And this is a group of people that's fertile for both sales opportunities and for everything else that you're doing. And you want to cultivate this group, and you want to talk to them 4 to 6 times a year. And I call this the 6X group. So you want to talk to these folks 6 times a year. And when I say talk to, I mean, you want to try to give value to them and be aware of opportunities that exist for them and be proactive about the whole thing. What a good lead is for them, what a good connection is for them, what a good client is for them, what a good ad is for them. Want to be broadly aware of that. And then there's the bigger group, and I call that your community. That's about 250 people. And that's about as many people as we can keep track of mentally at a time in a close network. We can have thousands of people on LinkedIn. We can be sort of tangentially familiar with more. But 250 people, we talk to them twice a year, and these people drift in and out of that kind of group, and they're marked on our CRM. And these people are sort of opportunities, good vendors, good possible prospects. People that have done us favors in the past. That's a group that we want to stay in touch with, because those are, every group is sort of fodder for one another. Sometimes somebody that was really close to you when you're in one part of your life and you change industries, they move from your closest inner circle to an outer group. That's fine, and that's just kind of the way life goes. And you want to keep track of this, so you want to make sure that you have a relevant and healthy network with people that are at 3 levels: at your level, above your level, and below your level. So you want to have all 3 levels represented, so you at every group, so you can kind of know where the market is, where the market's going, and where you want to get to.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense there. You 3 groups. I just want to recap that, because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I like your idea about drifters, right? Those people that drift in and out of your life. About 250 people, right? I like that. Your wedding party folks, that's 50 people. 6 times a year you talk to them, and then 30 times a year, which is about every other week. The 2 pizzas or less group, 10 to 15. So those would be the rehearsal dinner folks.
That's
I
right.
think that's great. And 250, they'd get invited, but you probably send them the wrong date for your wedding. So they don't show up, but they still send gifts. So
Yeah,
I got that.
You'd send them a save the date, or you'd send them, they're not able to make it. They'd send their regrets and a $50 card to Macy's or whatever. That's right.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. And that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, that kind of replicates a lot of what I've done, though. You're a lot more intentional about that network than I am. I would get, again, like I mentioned, that's where I think you stand out, is you're very, very intentional about that. And from a business perspective, I think it is important, right, to have a process so you can get some results. You have to have that. Because if you don't, it's okay. You might run a good freelance business, but you're probably not going to run a big business, right? You're probably not going to get to where you want to be. You're probably not going to get to 500K to $1 million doing that. You're super hard working and heads down and have built something that is already as big as you want it to be. Or what are you finding there, Chris? Because you said you built those businesses pretty high. So talk about that.
Yeah. So look, when I had Simple Film, that was a 7-figure video production agency that we ran for 7 total years. That business had 4 core relationships that were multiple 6 figures per year, that were referral sources. We had people that were the sort of fountainhead of a nest of referrals. Like they talk about, this guy referred this guy who referred this guy. That was just a few relationships that we had developed, nurtured, and protected, and served. So like that. That concept of having a network that can be you can rely on, that and that can rely on you, is like the most important thing in your business. You don't need a huge audience, although an audience is helpful. You need a bunch of people that you're fully committed to helping no matter what, and you're aware of what a good opportunity is for them the whole time. If that, like I know.
Yeah.
And you're not going to waste their time with a crappy introduction that they didn't, crappy unsolicited introduction. You're going to know, hey, what's going on in their industry. You're going to know some connections between their industry and another industry. You're going to know some actual good introductions that can help them. You're gonna know all sorts of stuff that about their business that isn't like information that anybody could get in 2 seconds off of looking at their LinkedIn page, and you're going to have actual insight, and you're going to be committed to you're going to be committed to them as well.
Yeah.
In an unbreakable
So yeah, right. And in a, in a service focused manner, right? You want to actually give service. That's where these are, I would say for a lot of these folks, these are the one-legged introductions you can make because you know them well enough that you know that this is exactly what they need and what the other person needs based on
That's right. I
conversation.
mean, you can do that. You can make an unsolicited introduction because you know them well enough. But a crap introduction that nobody wanted, that nobody benefited from, is not currency, and that somebody has to deal with is not currency, right? I don't know how many times I've gotten introductions that are like, yeah, here's an influencer that you'd like to meet. Maybe I'd like to meet this person, but I can't deal with them right now. I've got so much crap on my plate, and then it's just awkward for everybody. Well, I didn't ask to meet you. You didn't ask to meet me. Now here we are. Let's go on this crazy blind date. So, that's you've got to respect your network, and at the sort of like wedding party or wedding guest and above level, if we're using the wedding metaphor. You can make the one-legged or unsolicited introductions, but beyond that, it's difficult. And there's other ways of adding value. The other ways would be, having, making an actual sales lead. That's always a welcome opportunity. Looking at showing them a vendor that worked out. Like if you have a leads vendor or a SaaS that works, say, hey, I just got done using, Yesware. I was a big fan of Yesware for a lot of years. Got done using Yesware and I loved it. This could help you. Those are the kinds of things that you can help them with. I can show you how to use this tool that can make you have better productivity. Those are the sorts of things that you can do. I know that I made you use Gravity Forms on your site. That was one of the things that I did for you back in the 2009.
You didn't make me use it. You said that the forms that I had were less effective than Gravity Forms. So you helped me use Gravity Forms. I didn't think no, and hold on. There's a difference, right? Because sometimes you always call me affable Phil. That's not always true, man. I mean, I appreciate that. I will go along, but at the same time, if it's not my best interest, I'm still going to say no. And with that, right, I think it's important that we understand that those deeper connections are going to add your biggest growth, right? Sandy Ellis says this, right? She agrees about the right connections, those real deeper ones add to the biggest growth. So Chris, how do you're big at moving people in and out of this. You mentioned sales leads, you mentioned, making the right kind of tech recommendation, if you will, all of that. So how else do you help people get from the wedding party into the inner circle?
Well, it starts by design. Okay. So you think about who your ideal your network makeup would consist of. So if you need, let's say you've got a wedding, let's say you've got your 30X plus group. Okay. And that's 15 people at the most. You're going to want to have 5 people at your level. Okay. That are peers, the industry peers. They can be, around your level, professionally, 5 people above your level, and 5 people that are promising, that are junior to you, generally speaking, but could exceed you. Okay. And that's a design. And then you sort of slot it. You say, okay, this is the current makeup of my network, and here's and you make sure that they're enjoyable. You also, it's like a Sudoku puzzle. Okay. So you also want to include people of color, women, and you also want to make sure that you're connecting with people in each category that's different from you, so you have a broader perspective, and so you're not just hanging out with a bunch of white dudes from the Nixon Ford administration, right? That's the a possibility if you're me. So you want to make sure you're hanging out with people that are done by design, and you want to do that at every level. You want to make sure you're structuring it on purpose for the sake of diversity.
I like that. Yeah, interesting, right? Designing it like a Sudoku puzzle is really interesting.
And you're designing it for your benefit. So it's not just people that happen to like. I mean, this is a professional business asset that you're building, curating. It's a garden. It's not random. It's not something that you're going to just do haphazardly by the people that happen to comment on, some influencer's blog post and, friend you back on Facebook or LinkedIn. This is something that you're doing deliberately. And it's the most, and then you're building real long-term relationships where, your network will bail you out of jail if you need it to. Right. So that's the gist. And the reason that we got, I wanted to mention the reason that we got on this thing is that I got this unsettling and weird email from the Bravado team, and they asked me to sell out my network. And they asked me to sell out my network for $500 per contact, where they had 6 people, where Google Ventures Founder Group, Portfolio Books, Penguin Books, Mark Echo Enterprises, and Borders Group. They wanted me to make introductions to folks there for $500 per. I didn't have any desire to do that. It just seemed, because it was sort of blind. I didn't want to say yes, and I didn't want to, it would just feel sleazy. Like, somebody paid me $500 to introduce Phil. It just didn't feel like a good use of a good opportunity for me. I just didn't feel like it was a good fit, and it felt like I'm all for making money. I'm all for affiliates, but if you're only making an intro because you've been paid $500, it's a weird transactional thing, and I don't want any part of it.
Well, it's the opposite of a network, right? It's the opposite of a network. What you're really doing there is, to your point before, right? You're transacting business. You're not actually building a network. There's no value for value. You're getting paid. Oh, look at me. I made this connection to this person, and I'm, I mean, somebody that I don't know, you can't vouch for them. And you're hoping that they say yes. And just, they responded and they asked, well, you don't want to sell your network. Would you be interested in buying into the network now? Let's be really clear here. There is no way I'm going to give someone $500 to match make me with somebody else. Now, that being said, if we do business, if there's a referral fee that way, that's often okay, because we understand that relationship and that makes some sense. But those introductions, that's just ridiculous. There's no, that introduction, I mean, but I'll tell you right now, right, I would bet people say yes. I would bet that's going to be a popular business model, because they're likely going to take right now, because people are desperate. And it's like, oh, great, I can trade people like I got business cards. Yay. And they're going to burn their network.
For the groceries, but it's also your credibility, man. I mean, to have a network, you have to honor them the whole time. You have to do what's right for your network 10 out of 10 times without any exceptions. And so, you can never, ever sell your network up the river. You have to respect it from day one and do what's right for them. Not if you worry about, does this help Phil? It'll pay you back in spades and then some, down the road. So yeah, that's it's bananas. In my opinion, it's utter bananas to do it in any other way.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's got to be reciprocal. You have to have value for value. There's got to be two ways there. Otherwise, to your point, you're going to burn your network, and no longer will they even want to be drifters in and out of your network. They'll likely block you, unfriend you, and say,
you've had the dude that comes up to you that in 2012 they were selling real estate and they want you to come to their open house. In 2014 they were a financial advisor. In 2016 they had an herbal wrap that they wanted you to try, and now they're suddenly a political consultant and they want you to join Amway. Who knows, right? And that's what happens when you trade your network cheaply. Your audience, on the other hand, is a different concept, and so I'm not saying you sell out your audience, but I'm saying that your relationship with your audience is not the same, and you have fewer responsibilities to your audience. Your responsibility to your audience is to entertain them, okay? And to, this is entertaining, hopefully, to some people, and this is something that they're doing on their lunch break, or they're doing it at some point that our job is not to, you have a different level of responsibility to an audience than you have to a network. You have to be a fiduciary to your network. Okay. And that people don't do that. But you can never lie to your network. You can never lie to anybody, but you have just a higher calling when it comes to your network and your audience. It's a different because they know you're selling, and they know if you're promoting a product that there's maybe a commission involved, or something like that. And they're not, there's just no, the relationship's different. Does that make sense to you, Phil?
Yeah, for sure. Right. I want to expand on that. Right. So if you think about this, the reason why the FTC requires people to disclose that there's a fiduciary relationship is because otherwise people act like everyone's in their network. We're all buddy buddy. You're in my living room. When in reality, I'm next door and I'm just putting you in a fishbowl and I'm selling you. So to your point, right, about that, it's really important to understand that if you're talking to your 20 best friends, you need to think of it that way, that I'm sitting across the table from Chris and I'm saying, Chris, I'm looking you in the eye and saying, hey, this is in your best interest.
Right.
As opposed to the audience, which it's entertaining. There's possibility here. I can see some, for some of you, it's going to be great for you, right? I might make an offer. I might not make an offer, but I'm going to entertain you. I'm going to offer you some insight. I'm going to do something that holds your attention, and you might decide to get more intimate with me. You might decide that you want to develop more relationship, but certainly it's not a given, right? And I think that ambient intimacy is more important and yet less important than ever before. And I say that more important because we can't assume it, but less important because, frankly, there's a lot of people that it's not reciprocal. They don't even know. Like I have had people, I'm sure you've had people that think that like you're like best pals and you never talk to them. If you've never had a phone call with somebody, we're not best friends. Okay, I'm sorry. If you're watching this and you're one of those people that considers me your best friend and we've actually never spoken on the phone, you should probably let me know, because I don't, right? I'm not that smart. I don't even have ESPN anymore. I mean, I had ESP and then I don't have ESPN anymore, and that happens. But with that, it's important that we are intentional. I think that's the biggest thing you said today, and really important, right? Deliberate, intentional stuff. And that's the way, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, that you can actually build a network, as you can be intentional. Your 5 by 5 by 5 is really, really spectacular, Chris. I really like that 5 above you, 5 at the same level, and 5 that are up and comers. Really, really sharp there, really sharp. So
and you do that at every level to in as much as you can. And if it's 4, 6, and 4, 6, and 5, or 3, 7, and 3, 7, and 5, whatever. You just want to make sure that everybody's represented at every level in as much as you're able to. You can never be perfect, and sometimes your Sudoku puzzles don't solve themselves, but you get as close as you can, if you can.
Your Sudoku puzzles don't solve themselves. I don't know. I just bought some coins on Candy Crush. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. Coins on Candy Crush. That's a good investment, man. That's the next crypto.
I've heard that. Yeah. So
getting into
very
Bitcoin
good.
in 2016.
Awesome. Yeah. John McAfee, by the way, it is not going to $1 million. So if you see he's going to be doing some nasty stuff. We could talk about that in a little while, but not on this conversation, Chris.
Not on this conversation. No. So don't sell your network out. If you get the, I'm not gonna. I understand what Bravado is doing, and I get that there is value just sitting around that can be accessed, and I don't have a problem doing it. It's just a little bit too transactional for me, and if Bravado had built a relationship with me and had added some value to me and had made a case for networking and had done some of the work up front, I would be more receptive to their play. But the cold email that I got was based on 5 or 6 people that they had identified that they wanted an introduction to. And I don't know what's going to happen to them. So I have to vouch for Bravado, and I'm not prepared to do that. I'm just not. Your network is sacred, and you're not. That's my livelihood. Okay, Porter Gale is an acquaintance of mine, and she wrote a book that's somewhere on this shelf that said your network is your net worth, and I think it's on the top. I could find it. I'm not going to look for it now, but it's there. We did the trailer for that when I had my company, Simple Film, back in the day, and it's true. Your network is your net worth, and you don't throw it away just because somebody wants access to a VIP on your network. That's just not. You have to respect them, and that's how they stay, and that's how they do favors for you down the future. You've got to be a guardian of your network. So, That's my stick there. The other thing, do we want to talk about what we're doing together? Do we want to let your folks know a little bit?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's fun, right? To talk about working together
Okay.
and what we're
Well,
doing.
we're
So,
gonna yeah. So Phil and I have decided that that a lot of people need help with sales, and there's a lot of people that don't need to. There's a lot of people that are good at what they do, and they shouldn't have to. A lot of good companies out there that maybe aren't the best at selling, and that's okay. And we don't. We're okay at selling. We're okay at running a company, but we're really interested in working with folks that need a full scale solution from like lead to close, and from a stranger to somebody that's in their network, somebody that's in their wedding party. And we're gonna be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks, with some content and with some other ideas. We're calling it Leverage League, because you're, as a founder, you should be a practitioner of your business, and that does include selling. But if it's less efficient for you to do that, you'll get more leverage by working with us and our team than other stuff. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as the days roll on, and hopefully we'll be doing this more often together. But it's a fun concept, and I'm really excited to be working with you, Phil.
yeah, I'm really excited to be working with you too, Chris. I think it's really interesting that we kind of identified that gap, because a lot of the creatives that I talk to, a lot of the tech folks that I talk to, they're not just good at what they do, Chris. Let's just be really honest. They're some of the best at what they do, and yet sometimes sales can be a very big struggle, and that's okay. Sales is a different gift than making websites.
Well,
It's a different gift than consulting, right? It's a skill in and of itself, and
right.
it's not natural for everybody.
Right, and it's not a really good use of somebody's time that knows how to parse a SQL statement, or create a website from scratch, or create an app from scratch, to be on the phone talking to people that need that service. So it's not a good use of their time. It's inefficient, and we're hoping to. And they don't want to recruit. They don't want to do that whole spiel. And we're hoping to be able to do that at scale. So far so good. Our early returns are promising, and we're excited to help anybody that needs that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of folks there that need help. Lots of value we can add to people. I think it's definitely a value play. When you think about it, right, your first year, if you're to hire a sales team coming from somebody who's working in corporate, you're looking at a 350 to a 500K lift. It's just the truth. We can offer that a lot less. So yeah, that's full cycle, right? Full service from stranger to inner circle.
We'll run the ads, we'll work the funnel, we'll install the tech stack, we'll do the whole thing, because that's just you don't need to. There's everybody that's got a piece of the puzzle, but we want to, we know tech, and I've run an agency. Phil's been an independent entrepreneur for years, and I've had a tech business and sold a software company, so we know the gist, and this is a more fun opportunity, because we get to serve a lot of different people and keep from getting bored. So we're excited about the what's next.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to bringing more people in that we can talk to, that we can bring them in closer, so that we can have pizzas with them. Great to have some folks here today that have joined us. Sandy, Crystal is on with us. Really appreciate you for joining us, and really appreciate you just being part of our network, being part of our lives here. Hopefully, right? If you want to spend pizza,
it's not exclusive. They're not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're overlap circles. Wax on, wax off. Get Cobra Kai and no. Okay, so yeah, good stuff, Chris. So hopefully this is helpful for folks. Talk about the bilateralness. My big takeaway, Chris, that I took notes on is entertain your audience, respect your network. That's a big one for me. So I dig that. So Chris, thanks for spending some time with me today, and for everyone, thank you for being here. Have an awesome day.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye for now.